Hello, my name is Georgia Altair and welcome back to my knitting podcast. I think I'm just going to do a normal flow, so I'll talk a little bit about finished objects, works in progress, and then I have one yarn acquisition. I guess we'll get started also though with the first finished object, which is what I'm wearing. This is the Anna top. The designer is Lydia, who goes by kisskiss.rhinestones on Instagram, and I did this actually as a test knit. She designed it to be done in Cardiff cashmere, and I ordered cashmere yarn I did Ling Cashmere Premium because there was a really good online sale for it, and I was ordering it again from like the cheapest option online, and I realized there was like no way it was going to get here in time, and so I ended up doing this is a totally different fiber yarn. This is Malabrigo Susurro, and this is the color I want to say Polar Moon, and it is a mulberry silk, linen, and 40% maybe of it is wool. And so it has like way less memory, it's way less elastic, and so it gives a very different garment from I think the initial design. And so for her initial design, she had two different options. You could do a high neck collar, or you could omit it. And because I was using these very summery plant-based fibers, I wanted to do it without the collar because I just was thinking it's not going to have the like elasticity. It's also, I feel like the open boat neck is like much more summery. She also had the option to either include or omit bust shaping. So she did German short rows. I ended up deciding, I was looking at like what the other testers were doing and decided I wanted to do Japanese short rows just because they're a little bit less visible. But so I did that on this. I can also sit up a little bit more so you can see it better. I guess again, I feel like I'm like pretty happy overall with the fit. The short row shaping was really nice. Because I did it, it's not actually reversible versus like the original design is where you can wear the back or the front either way, and there's the opening eyelets in the back. Again, I'm really happy with how it turned out. I think a couple notes because I ended up using the like linen and silk fiber blend. It doesn't have as much negative ease. I feel like if anything, I would say it has a little bit of positive ease. So this could have just been like a sizing issue. Maybe I should have sized down, but I was, committed to test. This is size 3, I want to say. And I think most likely it's just because of my choice of fiber. And it definitely grew a little bit with blocking, but I'm still pretty happy with it. I feel like the fit is still really good. Again, I'm absolutely obsessed with this yarn. I think the design was really well written. I didn't run into any issues while testing it, and so yeah, could not recommend it more. This is my second pattern I've made from Lydia by kisskiss.rhinestones, and I feel like her pattern writing style is really easy, very straightforward to read, and yeah, just another super cute design. I feel like she just does really cool designs that are really different, I think, than other stuff you see. If I were to make it again, I think I definitely would make it in the cashmere, or again, maybe like a merino, something that's going to have that elasticity and have that memory and give it a little bit more negative ease. I think I would consider maybe trying doing it without the short row shaping, just in order to have that option of having it be reversible. But anyways, that's this. I guess I'll now move on to finished objects, the first of which is actually something I did with this use, like 1 and then maybe like less than 1/4 of a skein of yarn. And so what I ended up doing is I have a friend that's visiting me. She lives in on the East Coast, and so it's quite a fair bit colder out there. And the last time I visited her, I was realizing, I really wanted to make her a pair of fingerless mittens. The idea of this was because we were like out eating ice cream in very cold weather, and our hands were very cold holding our ice cream. And I was like, wait, okay, she might actually have a utility for fingerless mittens, opposed to me in California, where like really I don't have much of a utility for them. So anyways, again, this yarn is the Malabrigo Susurro. So it's like mostly silk and linen. However, I still feel like it has the wool. It hopefully will be insulating. And the yarn was just so beautiful in such her colors that I really still wanted to make it for her. Even though, again, I think maybe like a full wool might be the most insulating, I still think this will be good. This is actually my first time making. This is the penny glove by PetiteKnit. And I really like the pattern. I don't think I realized like how long the arm is. I think I maybe made it like 1/4 of an inch too long. And definitely, I don't know, if I did it again, I think I would like shave off, maybe not that much, but like a good couple inches. But hopefully it will keep her warm. She can layer it like under if she's wearing a long sleeve or jacket. And I just think they're so cute. It was definitely like a pretty easy knit, I would say. I've made one pair of mittens before. I made the Songbird mittens, a colorwork mitten for my sister. And that had like, the thumb gusset, and then it's like a closed mitten. So I feel like I'd done the thumb gusset before. I still feel like I didn't do maybe the best job ever, but I was pretty happy with it. And I think I honestly actually have, I think I have enough yarn left in this yarn that I can make one more pair of penny gloves, maybe like as long as I trimmed off a little bit at the bottom. And I should have said, this yarn is like a sport DK weight yarn. I think for the Anna top, it's supposed to be The Cardiff Cashmere is a DK, but it's like a light DK. And so this yarn is like, I thought was pretty sufficient for it. I would say like, I think it's like a little bit more airy of a gauge, but again, since it's a summer knit, I was like not mad about that at all. I don't think it's sheer at all when I'm wearing it. Anyways though, so these are the penny gloves, you know, matching and coordinating with this top. But I'm really excited to give them to my friend and hopefully she'll really enjoy them. Okay, so I'm realizing I have a few more finished objects, only one of which I have with me now. And the first one, I guess, which I have and I'll talk about is the Collette tee by Sari Nordlund. I think this is the only other one that I've shown in my prior videos. And so this I made, and I want to say it's Louise Robert yarn, which I got when I was visiting Montreal. It's a silk Tencel blend in this really pretty pearlescent pink. It's a DK weight yarn. And Sari Nordlund, I think, initially designed this in 2 strands of the fingering, oh my gosh, knitting for olive silk. So held double to make a DK. I just, again, had the 1 strand that's already a DK. And I think I did like literally no modifications. I made it exactly to specification. And I'm really, really happy with it. I feel like with Sari Nordlund patterns, like her construction is always so good. The designs are always so good. I just have full confidence that if I, you know, as long as I follow the pattern correctly, I'm gonna really love my result. And that was definitely the case for this one. I think something I mentioned before is I feel like it was working up really quickly. I just wasn't putting in like the number of hours I normally would each day into this. I've been working on a lot of, I've had too many whips on the go. And this was, you know, definitely fell victim to that. But I'm really happy I got it done. I've been wearing it a bunch. It's nice to have it done in the summer. And I'm thinking I'm gonna get a lot more wear out of it. So yeah, I have, you know, only positive things to say about this pattern. I think the yarn was also really good for it. And yeah, I feel like I'm really happy with how this one turned out. So my other 2 finished objects I don't actually have with me. The first was just a pair of vanilla socks that I made in some bad sheep yarn. It was like a green variegated yarn, sock yarn. And so that was a gift. And I also then made a chair cover that I just don't have easily accessible. And that I had a bunch of scrap yarn from when I did Mary Ann Stevens' Wild Rose Vest. And that's Jamieson Shetland Spindrift. And that was a colorwork vest. Maybe I'll put a photo in. And so I had just like a lot of like different colors from that project left. And it's a yarn that I think was really perfect for that project because it's steeped. And so you want something that's like gripping to itself and you're able to cut into without like worrying about it unraveling. But I think in my normal knits, I normally gravitate towards like softer, squishier yarns. And so I wasn't entirely sure what I wanted to do with so many little skeins and partial skeins of this Shetland Spindrift yarn. And so then I had the idea, okay, maybe I can make some sort of like home, you know, like a pillow or something. And then I was realizing I have this chair that my cat's been absolutely destroying. And so I decided I was just going to do a crochet project where I was going to try to use up as much of this scrap yarn as possible and just do a crochet seat cover. And so I just did, it's like it covers the top. I'll put a photo in, or I'll try to. And I actually still have so much of the yarn left over. So I need to figure out what I want to do with that. But it was really nice to have a crochet project on the go. I grew up doing a lot more crochet than I did knitting. And I've been wanting to get a little bit more back into it, but you know, knitting's really been taking over my crafting time. But it was really fun to just have something on the go that was, you know, freehand. I didn't follow a pattern. I just made a rectangle and then sort of draped it over and attached the side in a way that would account for the curvature of the chair. And it was just sort of, you know, it was creative. It works really fast. I feel like crocheting is, you know, much speedier, I think, than knitting, or at least for me is. And yeah, it was just super satisfying to do something that was a quick project that used up a lot of scrap yarn, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. Hopefully it will also, you know, prevent my chair from looking as bad and maybe from getting as damaged by my cat. So fingers crossed, but we shall see. And I think with that being said, I think that's all of my finished objects, so I'll maybe start talking about my works in progress. The first is going to be another Rumble Raglan, but this one would be for my sister. So I've made a Rumble Raglan for myself before, and for that I used a bunch of mini skeins that were like in a coordinated autumnal sort of color palette. And for this I'm using the Coast to Coast sock yarn, and I'm forgetting the color shades, but again it was from the 2 yarns are from the same collection, which was the Patchwork collection. And so they have this really pretty variegation that's like the same between the 2 yarns, where they both have these sort of like brown, orangey, yellowy speckling. And so initially when I was planning on this out, I have a lot of scrap sock yarn, and so I was thinking I was going to again use like a lot of different colors, all sort of in this seafoam bluey color palette. But then I was realizing I started off with just these 2 colors, which I thought were going to be my main colors, and I was realizing, wow, they look so good together and they're so clearly coordinated. I think it would just sort of disrupt the cohesion to try to then be adding in other yarns that like don't have the same variegation. So, you know, definitely was a choice. I don't think I'm regretting it at all. I'm really happy with it. I think my sister's really gonna love it. I've been doing a lot of gift knitting actually as of late. I kind of have, I have like 2 other of my own whips, which are the Barbroe blouse and the tarot card sweater that I've sort of let sit in hibernation. And I have like this project and, you know, the mittens and the socks, and I have, you know, 1 to 2 other projects that are gift knits at the moment. And so I've had a lot of different deadlines, and this deadline is not as encroaching as fast as some of the others. And so it hasn't been my main whip. But I'm really enjoying it. It's like super fun to work on. This pattern's really amazing. It's really satisfying to just do the, you know, really simple color work, but that gives this really striking result. And so I'm excited to get back to this once I finish. I have 1 more whip that has a much more pressing deadline that I'll talk about shortly. And then I'm excited to get this finished up for my sister, and hopefully we can then wear our matching shirts together. So, okay, the next whip we'll talk about is like supposed to have been a gift knit, but I did not finish it at all in time. And I kind of also was thinking about it. This is a pattern that I've made several times. It was one of the first patterns I made when I started knitting. And I've made it as a gift twice before and made it for myself once, but the one I made for myself was literally like my second ever knitting project or knitting garment project since picking knitting back up. And I didn't use the right weight yarn. I used like really kind of just like rough, stiff cotton, and it didn't like hug the body at all nicely, and just was the wrong gauge, it was the wrong size. I don't even know what needle size I used it on. And so I was kind of realizing maybe this one I'll just keep for myself. Maybe, I don't know, maybe I'll give it to my friend just super late. But we will see. It's to be determined. I know I'm like, it always feels bad to be like, oh, I was intending on making this for someone else and then I keep it for myself. But I also am like, I've been a little bit sad that I don't have a version of this top for myself. And the top is the Go-To Racer Tank. It's by Brie. I'm gonna mispronounce her last name, so I'll just put it in below. And it's a pattern, I think I found this on Etsy actually. Again, this was like early knitting days, so I don't even think I used Ravelry. I don't think it has that many projects on Ravelry, but it's an excellent pattern. I think it's actually meant to be for a sport weight yarn, and I did it on fingering yarn. I've used the same exact, this is the Hobbit something like rainbow yarn, cotton yarn, I'm forgetting the exact name, and I made a version of this for one of my friends with this exact yarn before. And so I know it works. I'm guessing what needle size I used it on. Again, the first couple times I did it, I like didn't understand the difference in like yarn gauges, and like I had random needles that I didn't know what size they were. And so I was kind of just winging it, but it's like a tank with some negative ease, and so I think I'll be pretty much fine. It's bottom up, which is, you know, a little bit harder to gauge on sizing, but again, I've made it before. I'm pretty flexible if it's a little bit cropped. And I just think this color is really nice. I think it will be really practical for me. And yeah, I'm excited to, I think, maybe have a version that I'm going to keep for myself this time. So yeah, really only positive things to say on this pattern. I think it's just kind of funny coming back to it now that I've like been knitting a fair bit more and like actually keep track of things like what is the yarn weight, what is the needle size. Maybe I should have those be like correct or as they are specified in the pattern. But it should be good. I think, again, I haven't been focusing on this project quite as much since once I realized I wasn't going to finish it in time as a gift knit, I was like, okay, I should set it aside. But yeah, now it's just one of my many whips that, you know, needs to be finished, and I'm like, why do I have so many whips? But that's okay. And so this next whip is sort of what's been taking up most of my time the last couple days. And it's gonna be a baby knit, and so it's for a baby that is gonna be born very shortly, and that is why I'm like, I must make this now. It's for one of my coworkers who's having their first kid. And I kind of have been toying about the idea of making a baby knit, and then I didn't really commit until 2 days ago. But since it is a baby knit, and this is knit on a DK gauge, I've been breezing through it. I think it's gonna be done hopefully in the next couple days, and I'll be able to get it to him. I was realizing, I was like, I think his wife is due like in a couple weeks, and so I was like, I really should, you know, do this now in case the baby comes early or anything. But yeah, I've never done a baby knit before. This is the Melange sweater by PetiteKnit. I'm knitting it in the Lana Gatto VIP yarn, which is a 20% cashmere, 80% wool, which is probably not the most practical for washing purposes, but is really soft. And also I already had it in stash, and I've really been trying to, I think all of the projects I've been showing thus far, save this one, I already have the yarn in stash. And that's really what I've been trying to focus on moving forward. I've been realizing I just have so many like partial skeins of yarn from like projects, or like even sometimes full skeins of yarn from projects that I've already finished, where I'm like, I really need to like focus on doing more accessories or using up odd bits of ends of yarn that way. And I'm really trying to not get any more yarn. I think like it's not even that my stash is so huge. I'm just sort of realizing like, wow, like the time I feel like it takes to like knit the little accessories is like actually quite substantial when you're using the little ends, odds and ends. And so I'm like, I think the sort of like the time that it would take to consume all the yarn I currently have is like quite long. And so I feel like I'm like, okay, I need to dial in and work on that and not be getting new stuff. But anyways, that's a little bit of a ramble, but I'm super happy with how this is turning out. I feel like again, it's my first baby knit. I have started the ribbing, which felt a little bit premature, but I actually like extended it a couple rows past what was recommended in the pattern. And I'm sort of just trusting PetiteKnit knows the baby dimensions far better than I, who have never made a baby garment before and honestly do not interact with many babies. My gauge is correct, I'll say on this one. Like I swatched, I've like been measuring the garment, the finished product results, and it's like to spec. Hopefully it like will be still fine with blocking. But yeah, again, looking super cute. I'm hoping I can finish it up in the next couple days. I just need to do the ribbing, the sleeves, the collar, and it should be good to go. And then after that, I'm super excited to be finishing working up on my sister's top, who will then be out a little bit after the baby is born, I think. And so with that being said, I think that's all of my works in progress. I guess I'll talk really quickly about my one acquisition, which is some yarn that I got intending for this. So again, this pattern, the Anna top by kisskiss.rhinestones, is supposed to be knit in Cardiff cashmere, which is, you know, a quite expensive yarn, and so I wasn't totally sure I wanted to commit to getting it. Did a little Google search, found that, you know, Ling yarn, this is the Ling Cashmere Premium, is another like DK weight cashmere yarn. I was like, great. There was a site, Rito, that was like doing a sale on it, and so I ordered it. And then I really quickly realized it was going to take like weeks to a month to arrive, and I did not have that time for the test knit. And so then I ended up going to my local yarn store, getting this yarn, you know, pivoting in terms of it's a very plant-based summer fiber. It's not going to have the same composition and the same end result as, say, the cashmere would. But I'm really glad I did that because, you know, this yarn I think then took like a whole month to arrive. And by that point, like, I think it was like only several days before the test knit finished. But now I have like a fair number of balls of this Ling cashmere in this really pretty purple color. I'm thinking I want to make the Campanola tee, which is supposed to be a sport weight yarn, but I think again, since this is a light DK, that would work. I just want to do a pattern that I really, really like, and I've had my eyes on that one for a while, and so I think because this is a more special, fun yarn, you know, being wholly cashmere, I think that would be a good project to do. But so anyways, with that said, I think that's everything. So thank you so much for hanging out with me, and I'll see you guys next time.